What's up, everybody? It's Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. I'm out here at the Bear Hole again. I just got a minute to talk with you guys, and I wanted to give you some updates on what's been going on and where we're going and things that are going to change. So last week I had a few more orders to wrap up. The week after the Huntsman drop, I had a good handful, probably 10 or 12 orders that I had to wrap up. That dribbled over into last week as well. And mainly it was a availability of heat treat resources issue. So I still had a few to finish up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I took the rest of the week off. Friday was my wife and I's anniversary, 13th anniversary. So I kind of took the rest of the week off. It's been long overdue for sure. We went and did some shooting with the kids, and we took kids out, did some antiquing. I got this really cool Boy Scouts mess kit at an antique shop for 10 or 15 bucks. It's complete minus a couple of little things, but all the pots and the lids are there. It's pretty cool. And then yesterday we just watched the race. Shout out to my boy Eli Tomac. You'll never hear me, but I really enjoyed watching you race yesterday. All right, anyhow. So, some new things. We have got finally gotten our hands on a laser engraver. A fiber laser. I bought a Com Marker. Forget which model it is, but it's made by Com Marker. Anyway, it's really cool. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to get a hold of a laser engraver for quite so many years, and I've finally been able to do that. And this is a product of that. And you can see that this is slightly different than the Very Good logo. This has got an arrow through it. Now, the old Very Good Knife Company logo. So, of course, got that triangle. This triangle. I'm not crazy attached to it. It just kind of came about while I was making a logo and I needed something, and it was somewhat decent looking. So, this is what... There are a couple different, so this is the line. This is the one that we've chosen to go with. And you can see, as I was talking about a while back, I will be doing steel denomination labeling. So you see that says ADCRV2. Of course, the ADCRV2 blades will have that. It won't be this exact stamp. This one's far too big and I don't like it. But anyhow, I've just been doing some testing. I've done a bunch of testing. Now that it is easier to do things like this, I will be offering personalization. I thought that was pretty cool. Put it on the insides of my knives. I thought that was pretty neat. Speaking of Tradition Juniors, I have one. I'll get that out here in just a minute. But anyhow, personalization will be a thing for orders and anything else. I might just add it like an option in the store on like a product page. But anyhow, what are you doing? Anyway, somebody creeping. This is the solid, and I can't get it to focus for anything. I cannot get it to focus for the life of me. But anyway, this one I thought looked better. The lined. It's really cool. That's what it's going to be. These are all going to be the second generation, I guess, of Very Good Knife Company knives. They will all have their steel marked, and they will say Very Good Knife Co. with the arrow through it. That's the new thing. Oh, this old logo, that's another thing. It says Very Good Knife Company, and it's really hard to read down there. It's not too bad, but the new one says Very Good Knife Co. LLC. So moving on from that, that's one major change. That's going to help me majorly with efficiency, time, for sure. The Electrochem has been a nightmare. If some of you may know or remember from a few months ago, I was in the middle of doing a run and I blew up my last Electrochem machine. Had to order another one. Now they're like 350 bucks. And a laser engraver's like $2,000. So at the time, of course, we were like, we got to go with a laser engraver. We got to get rid of this Electrochem crap, because the system is just, it doesn't work very well when you have a whole bunch to do. Right now, we're just in a big pickle with trying to streamline the process. And of course, the more I'm able to streamline the process, the more I'm able to make, and more I'm able to make. So another way that we're going to streamline the process, and a few of you might be a little upset, but we're going to eliminate the Kydex belt loops. These in truth just aren't that great. They're not super strong. In fact, I replace them every now and then, especially you linemen out there. You guys absolutely know how to put a whooping on a knife and sheath. I'm looking at you, Felipe. I appreciate it anyway, buddy. And I can definitely tell that you get some really good use out of your knives. And it doesn't bother me one bit to just clean them up and make them brand new again and send them back out. I enjoy it. Anyhow, but the linemen specifically, you guys absolutely just destroy your belt loops. I have replaced more belt loops for the lineman sheath than any other sheath. And I don't really specify in my warranty that I cover that. And in fact, I kind of don't cover that. But to me, it's just investing in my customers, you know, whether I technically cover it or not. Doesn't matter to me. You know, it's just going to take me not too long to make you a new belt loop. It's going to make you twice as happy anyway. I don't want you to have any downtime with carrying my knives. I want that to be, I want the Very Good Knife Company knife to be your go-to. So when the belt loop goes down, it goes down. No worries, I'll get you another. But anyhow, the thing is that these two are what I send with every knife: a scout carry loop and a vertical carry loop. Now, more than 50% of people that actually get them, first thing they do is pull them right off the sheath and toss them aside. I'm willing to bet that it's closer to 75 or 80% of people that get them toss them to the side. And that's okay, because I don't carry them. I carry the, well, I got one on my belt, but I don't have one handy right here. I carry my leather saddle loop that I've been carrying for years and years. And until I get myself set up with a leather sewing machine again, I will not be doing those, because I'm having a hand stitch and I'm just not, I don't have time for all that right now. That's another thing. I'm just running short on time, trying to do more than I need to do. But anyhow, the belt loops is a biggie. So I'll be going with the rubberized nylon. I know this is common. Pull on dot, snap. These are really nice. These are really nice. So these things, I'll just lay it out there for you. They cost me $3.25 a piece, but for that price, I have to buy 100 of them. So you do that math. 100 of them goes 100 knives, which is just not that long. But my regular belt loops cost me about $3.50 a set. Now, the price isn't the biggest issue here for me. It's the time. I spend $3.50 on the Chicago screws, the grommets, the super thick grommets, and a Kydex loop. That the issue here is that I have $3.50 into this, but $20 in time. They just take so much time because it's just not efficient to be making them one at a time. I usually do bigger batches of the belt loops. They just take up too much time. They take up a whole extra different sheet of Kydex. For my belt loops, I use a 90 thou Kydex. And for the sheaths, I use a 60 thou Kydex. Now, I want the more rigid on the belt loop, but that is the only thing that I'm using that Kydex for. And consequently, with the thicker Kydex comes a thicker eyelet. So instead of an 8.6 for 60 thou, I use an 8.8. If I could eliminate the need for the Kydex, for that sheet of Kydex and the eyelets and all that together, it would just save me tremendously. In truth, like I said, I'm not that crazy big believer in my own belt loops. Not that I just don't think that they're worth anything. But no matter how I shine it, this is still just a piece of Kydex. It's not that great, no matter how good I try and do it. There are, however, a whole bunch of really, really good aftermarket attachments for every sheath, and I make sure to make every sheath fit everything that I can possibly make it fit. I use 1/2-inch spacing on all my holes so it'll fit Tek-Lok large and small. Of course, Ulti-Clip is awesome. These rubberized inner waistband carry soft loops are also awesome, and they can be carried scout carry as well. Turn this a little bit. They can be carried scout carry. They can be moved up and down, of course, adjusted. You can add an extra loop if you wanted 2 of them to carry like outside the belt. But anyhow, so that's a thing. We're going to just move on to the next generation of very good knife company knives. And that entails, so far, the new stamp, the steel denomination, and the option for personalization. No more Kydex belt loops. We'll now be going with, now this is for everything up to the Tribute size. So the Tribute and everything bigger will not get these, but it will rather get a 1/8-inch Kydex drop backer, Chicago screws, and a scuba webbing loop. Now this is not scuba webbing. We've already done some finagling, and the first run of Huntsman's all had this nylon webbing for the dropper, and it's good stuff, but it's not amazing. I would like it to be stiffer. I talked with Jacob Peterson about this. Shout out to him. He's got an awesome channel. If you haven't followed him already, go do so. It's the Prepper's Bunker, I believe. Still, it might be JBP Gear Reviews now. Now that I'm getting into this, I'm feeling like an ass for not knowing exactly what it is now. But anyway, shout out to Jacob Peterson. He's my homeboy. Wouldn't be where I am without you. So we discussed about the nylon loop, and it's not rigid enough. I could not, for the life of me, figure out what I used to use, because I have made these in the past with the Bloodline knives. I couldn't remember where I was getting the nylon, and I got this in hopes that it was the same. I was kind of sold on it was close to the same. It was super stiff. It's definitely not stiff. So from now on out, the Walkabout, the Tribute, First Strike, anything bigger like that is going to have a dropper like this and scuba webbing. The Walkabout and Tribute will probably get 1.5 inches instead of the 2-inch like this, because this is super wide, and I made these for the Huntsman. This is a Huntsman belt loop. So, moving on from that, with the laser engraver comes the new possibility of reviving one of my older models, and that is the Cub from Bloodline. This knife I designed entirely on CAD. It is skeletonized, and this one is wrapped with paracord. I wanted it to be able to clip onto something or wrap it. It will not have this sheath. It'll have definitely a better sheath. And of course, it'll come with that nylon loop. It'll probably come with some paracord to wrap the handle with. It will come with paracord to wrap the handle and enough for hanging it around the neck to neck carry the knife. So my biggest dilemma with making these, and I have a good handful of these still sitting in the shop. They're ADC RV2. They kind of rust everywhere unless I really coat them, which is why I powder coated them. Now, I won't be doing the powder coat again. I'm not crazy about powder coat. If I was going to do any kind of coating, it would be Parkerization or probably Cerakote. But anyhow, the old stamp for Bloodline was just a stamp. Now, I moved on from stamping a long time ago for multiple reasons, and I'm not even going to get into that. But I don't enjoy stamping, and I just didn't want to do that with Very Good, which is why I've been doing electrochem. And it's, even though I absolutely despise electrochemical etching, the process, the mess, the having to keep up with all the fluids that spill all over the place, it's better than stamping because I'm not bending them and weakening blades, and I just don't like stamping. Anyway, I've been at odds because I can't coat over the top of electrochem because the electrochemical etching is extremely shallow, even when you do it extra long. Now, when you try and do it deeper, it'll end up distorting, and then you'll just get a not good etch. And that was another reason why I was really pushing for lasers. Not necessarily just the process change, trying to streamline things, but also the quality of the etch. So I've been called on a few times the quality of my etch. Now, this one's not even that great either. The electrochem is about as good as it can ever be. In terms of, it just does what it is intended to do. Now, it's not intended to do anything super precise because you're using liquid on a piece of cotton and you're dabbing it onto steel that's taped down or magneted down, or however anybody else holds it down. I use tape through a nylon stencil, mesh stencil that's been laser engraved. So it's not like it's going to be super precise anyway. Anyhow, the quality of etching, the quality of your logo with laser is tenfold that of the best etch that I can get with electrochem, especially when you look at it up close. And I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of electrochem etches now. I hate it. I just despise it. It's not only is it just a mess and pain in the neck, and it takes me forever, and I have to sit there and, yeah, you've seen that sped up. It just, you know, if I blow up my $350 machine again, I'm out. I'm screwed. I have that machine on backup if I just so happen to lose the ability to use my laser engraver. But anyhow, quality is a big thing. So with the coating, I can't do electrochem. The coating would cover it up. You wouldn't even see the logo. Now that I got a laser, things have changed. I can do these now, and I'm going to. I have not ironed out when, where, whatever, however I'm going to do it. I really want to do some in stainless so they don't have to be coated. But another thing, like, I got to get myself set up with another tumbler. I had a pretty nice tumbler it bit the dust because I used it to death. It was assisted, used to death. I didn't destroy it myself. Anyhow, so the belt loops, moving on. This is a pretty cool knife. This is a Tradition Junior Nitro V with the Purple Haze fat carbon. Now this knife has not been claimed. It was an extra, and I made it because I was already making 3 other Nitro V Tradition Juniors, and this one was just in the mix. So this will probably drop this week. I'm going to do a run of Ramblers this week, and then I'm gonna try and get everything ironed out for like a run or a drop schedule. That's gonna be really tough because I'm trying to get prepared for Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering, which I am paid up for a spot to exhibit at. I will be there, and how many knives I show up with, I'm not entirely sure, because I don't have a whole lot of time to prep for it. That brings up another kind of topic on what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to prepare for things like the gatherings and Blade Show and stuff like that. I've been kind of touchy on the whole water jet subject, and I don't really have an issue with it. I would like to continue doing things the way I'm doing them now, like hand blanking. The reason why is when I'm doing bigger drops, or smaller drops rather, I don't have to worry about overstock or just not being able to sell stuff. Everything that I make right now sells out. I'm probably not making enough, but the thing is, I'm able to do this capacity without any issue. The capacity that it takes for me to build a stock up for a big show, that's a totally different ball game. So what I would like to do is before Blade Show. Now I don't have time to do this before Fall Gathering. I'll just be cranking out what I can crank out the way I'm doing it for now until the rest of the year is over with. But starting next year, to prepare myself for Blade Show, if I even get in, I am on the waiting list, I will start working on some water jet applications in order to prepare myself with the stock that I'm going to need to show up at a show like this and make it worth my while. Because to be totally honest with you, if I had to choose between going and meeting all these people that I want to see at Blade Show, just walking around, and compare it with exhibiting, I would have to sell $10,000 or $12,000 worth of knives to make it worth me even wanting to sit behind the table for 3 days. I just despise it that much. I really do. I've done a ton of shows in my life. Not as many as my dad, but I've done a whole bunch of shows. And, you know, for something as big as Blade Show, man, if I don't show up with a good bit, it's not going to be worth me sitting there for 3 days, because that's a long and very grueling show. I will be happy to move on to water jetting for my bigger stock upping runs, and this will be for stuff at the Blade Show. One day I would like to water jet everything, because in truth I can't keep up with all these processes myself. I would like to grow the company, not so big as where we are just 100% machine made. Maybe that is the thing, I don't know. The point is that I can't continue it forever, not on my own. I have to teach somebody else. I have to bring some help in somewhere along the way. I have to just flow with growth, or we're just gonna fizzle out at the level that we're at. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to set myself up for growth. So being able to expand the amount of blades that I am able to prepare myself with for big events is a big step. Another thing, another feature key part to that puzzle is my heat treating process. Now, my kiln is old and rickety, and I've been wanting to get myself a new kiln. I have been trying to gather certain things to make this whole process easier. One of them is a grinder. I got a new grinder, so now I have two instead of one, which has just made things so much better in the shop. And a lot of you guys know that I came from a shop that had 6 grinders in it, so we had an attachment on every grinder. Every grinder had its own attachment. Some of them had duplicates of this attachment. You know, I had a dedicated Scotch-Brite / wire wheel cleanup machine, and I don't have that now. But those things make the process of making knives a whole lot easier and faster, and speed is what we need. Quality control is not an issue when it's all working right here, but if I were to just suddenly be no longer, I have to be able to depend on my help to keep my business going, or it's just gonna die with me. So thinking about the future just a little bit will help preparing myself for growth and just figuring out what needs to happen to go on next. One of those big old things is working with people like Gabe with Last Huntsman Outdoors and Tim with Tim's School of Fish. I really enjoy working with my designers. Tim's got his own thing with Blackwater Knife Co. And I'll also be getting started on those really soon. The next model for him is going to be the Bonefish, and this is all I'm going to show you. It's a swayback, Wharncliffe, 5/32 stock, big old deep hollow ground. That's it. That's all you get. Letting Tim do the rest on that. But I will show you another blade, and this is the Hawk, designed by Gabriel of Last Huntsman Outdoors. We will be doing a whole nother thing. Now with the Huntsman, I had to order a stencil for the Electrochem etch, because on the Huntsman they all said the Huntsman USA on the other side instead of just Very Good Knife Co. And up until the Snook and the Huntsman, the only thing that Very Good Knives has had on them is Very Good Knife Company on one side, the left side. So it cost me like $100 to get set up for etching just the Snook and the Huntsman logos on. Now I don't have to worry about any of that anymore because I've got myself a logo saved, and I can just go in, type it into the computer and press play, and it'll send it to the laser, and it'll etch it on right there. This one's going to say the Hawk USA, just like the Huntsman. I really haven't ironed all that out with Gabe, but I would assume that that's probably the direction that we're going to go. It's going to say something similar to that. It'll have the new Very Good Knife Company logo on the left side. It is really close to an Adventure. Now, Gabe really liked the Adventure handle, so I kind of went close to the Adventure handle. But it does get a little narrow in here. So this one is just slightly wider in the front end of the handle. However, it's still got a big stop right there. We've got a fully flat ground, big Sachs style, Wharncliffe style, and that's kind of what Gabe was wanting, was like an EDC Sachs, and I think it's absolutely awesome. I think this is going to be a hit for sure. I'm I've got a whole big giant bunch of steel on the way, and steel for these and steel for these. There will of course be Nitro V options for both of them, and I don't have a date. I haven't really ironed much out with Gabe on the other options, but I do know that we will probably be doing the Nat and green. Of course, green. I know we're going to do green. And we'll probably do Nat. But instead of black, I think we're going to do blue micarta, the denim blue. And then maybe something else. We'll also do some Nitro V as well. I don't know if we're going to do anything special. But I have ironed out what I'm going to do with the bonefish with Tim. I just got to have the stuff, and I got to get started on them. So that's coming up. Another thing that is coming up, another change, I will be changing the Tradition. Now, I won't be changing the design, the shape, the grind, any of that. But and you will notice right away that I've been starting to reduce weight and handles. That will be made more easily possible with water jet. Because if I have to do it all by hand, then I'm going to start raising prices because it's a pain in the neck. It really is. And I go through a whole bunch of drill bits. So if I could do water jet, I could do the weight reduction in the handles a whole lot easier. Anyhow, last thing, well, it's not the last thing I'm going to show you. Second to last thing, the Tradition. And this is just a blade. I just heat treated all these blades together. I'm going from the 3/16 stock to a 5/32 stock. I have kind of been on the fence wanting to do that. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't ever make them in 3/16 stock. Of course, if you contact me and you want one in 3/16 stock, no worries, I'll make it for you. It ain't a problem. I've just been wanting to make it slightly thinner. And that's just a preference thing. I think it'll be a little bit better performing at a slightly thinner. Now, I still do the 3/16 stock really well. I bring it up really high with the grind and taper it down to super thin. It's good cutter. I would personally rather have the 5/32 stock. So from now on out, I'm going to run the Tradition with a 5/32 stock. I will have Adventures, Ramblers, Wasp, Mantis, the junior models, both junior models, Adventure and Tradition. And I will have the Tradition. I will try to have some walkabouts and tributes for Georgia Bushcraft. And I will also try to have a good bit of these. Now, I've been making slingshots for quite a long time, and this is a pattern. This is just made off of a pattern that I have. It's a router template. I go ahead and glue a G10 liner in between two pieces of micarta, and then I stick it on my router pattern, cuts it all out, and then I taper the chamfer the handles down the same way as I do the knife handles. Actually, this is the first one that I did with that a long time ago. It's the double green from Macecraft. This is a thicker one. I use 3/8 inch micarta on both sides. It's got a yellow liner. Anyway, I use TheraBand gold and a leather pouch, TheraBand bindings, and over the top bands. Now, this is kind of a for fun thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to keep up with these and doing knives. And I don't intend to cut any time doing knives to make more of these. However, I did make myself, my wife, and all four of my kids one, and they love them. We have had some slingshot wars with some clay ammo. But anyhow, that's I'm happy to finally show that. They will have different colored G10 liners. That kind of makes it cool. I may even be doing some solid micarta, none without some without the, good Lord, I'm all jumbled up. Some without the liner in the middle, just to add color. Some plain ones. But anyhow, I hope to show up to Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering with at least a few of these. I would probably sell them for around 50 bucks. That's about all I would want to get out of them. Anyhow, if any of you guys are watching this video and you just can't live without this Purple Haze Tradition Junior, hit me up. It's not spoken for. Anyhow, I hope I didn't bore you to death, and I hope I didn't miss anything. I always feel like I missed something. But anyhow, thanks for watching, guys. If you made it to the end of this video, I'm proud of you, because I have just about bored myself. I have my son sitting here. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Take care.